Well, another breeding season comes to an end. I finished mine about a week ago now. Even though the hens and the cocks were still wanting to go back down, I've got enough young birds this year for what I need. It's not been a brilliant year, but to say that, it's not been a bad year either. So overall, I'm really pleased with what I've got. These are the last three to come out of the nest. They've been weaned now a couple of weeks. I don't know if you can see very well, they're very white. So they've got pretty well plucked. Let's move the drinking pot out of the way. They've got pretty well plucked on the head, and one of them's pretty bold around the side by the hen. So I had to separate them in the end. But she just wanted to go, even though she's brought up 5 chicks, she still wanted to go to nest. You know, really was interested. You can see how they're a bit bold on the head, and that's one of the brothers or sisters. And we've got the 3 mules there, and so there's the other 2. So yeah, been a good season. I always put into a flight cage, I put all the young with the mature hens, because it helps, I think it helps quieten them down a bit, because the hens are very steady, the chicks are very flighty. So if you put them all together, I think it just steadies them up quite a bit. These have obviously got a wire cage in there at the minute. It's wire separated between the 2, because I don't want to just put them in there with the others. I want them to settle in for a week or so they can see each other through the wire, and then I'll let them go in with the others. I've got one of my hens back. She's looking a bit timid at the minute because she's only been back in here 10 minutes. My mate dropped her off at the door because we're still in lockdown here in Leicester for another 2 weeks, unfortunately. So social distancing and all that, I know it's driving people mad, but it's just got to be done. And that's another reasons why I didn't want too many young for this year, because you don't know what's going to go off in the rest of the year. You don't know if there's going to be any shows. You don't know if you're going to be able to get rid of the birds. So I don't want too many. And this next season, I'm going to keep just the reds. And I'm hoping out of all these in here, I know I can't put those together because they'll all be brothers and sisters, but I can put them back to some of the other pairings. Now the hen here, the intensive hen, the last video I made, she was sitting on 3 eggs. One of them hatched. She threw it out, or the cock threw it out the nest, so I separated them. I managed to save the chick, put it back in the nest. Lived for a couple of days, and then she stopped feeding it altogether. So I thought that's enough. I put her in here. First thing she started to do was feed one of these big chicks in here. Well, you know, she was feeding them, and yet she won't feed her own. And then I can't keep her out of the sitting in the feed pots. She just wants to go to nest all the while, and yet she's had a mare of a season, not managed to bring any young into the world. But saying that, I should keep her next year, because I know what she's going to be like. Even though she'll be a year older, then she might be a lot better. So, but if I can get a few birds down all together, I can pop her eggs under another bird and give her some dummy eggs to sit on or whatever. But at least I'll get something out of her bloodline, because she's a nice feathered intensive. So I might be able to use her this time with one of this year's cock birds and get something, some really nice young out of them. I see online everyone seems, some people have had really good seasons. I think overall, I think most people have had a good year this year. I don't know if it's because we've all been around a lot more to look after birds, or the weather's been good, but you never know. But it's just, I'm pleased. Yeah, I'm really pleased with what I've got. The birds that are out in the aviary I've now got rid of. My mate is taking them round, another guy with an aviary. I've still got out there, I've still got a couple of mules, a hen and a cock. I've got my other cock mule in here. I think out of these three, I think I've got definitely 2 cocks and a hen. One is a lot smaller than the other, and it's got a white patch. She's sitting down there on that bar. She's got a white patch on the back of her head. That's the same as the other hen that was bred last year. Whether that's a trend with them or not, or just coincidence, I don't know. But it's definitely smaller. And once these start to molt out, I'm expecting some really decent mules out of them. I have started to put some colour food in the soft food now. You can see there's a little few patches, but I think they're on the baby feathers. They're not started to molt yet, obviously. So the mules will have a bit of colour feed this year as well. The yellow wing feathers should still stay the same, because obviously they've already grown. They won't lose those till next year. So, but the rest of them will, the rest of the body will colour up quite well. We'll see what we get out of them. The 3 lovely birds, a bit messy. They do like to rip things apart. And there's the cockbird. He's really steady. He's a lovely bird. I mean, so I've had him 2 or 3 years now, and he's never failed to make mules, and he's never been colour fed, and that's just how he comes out every year. It's a beautiful bird. So that's all for this year, I think. I'll make a few more videos as the birds start to molt out and you start to see the colour coming in the young Redfactors and the mules. See what we get. So we'll put you back in. So hope everyone's keeping safe, and I'll talk to you later on. Bye for now.